All right, all right, all right. Good morning, mob family. Hello, hello. How's everyone today? So the angle's gonna look a little different because I have a different camera stand. Um, the lighting is a little different, not so glaring. So it's gonna see a few changes. How is everyone? Let's see, make sure I can see the comments. See who's here. Hello, good morning, Connie. Good morning, Chris Chrisman. Good morning, Linda. Good morning, Audrey. Good morning, Michelle. Jim, good morning. Heather, good morning. Suma, good morning. Peaches, he's not going anywhere. Um, Paige, good morning. All right, so those of you that are here, I know it's still early, so not everyone is here yet. Good morning, Connie. But those of you that are here that have been shredding, are you noticing that there's less to shred, or life has just gotten in the way? Just want to take a quick unofficial poll. To all the YouTubers, good morning. Did I scare you that I get too close? I get too close. I have more access to the camera now, so I can zoom in for dramatic moments like, did you really say that? Things like that. It's a low tech special effects. Good morning. I hope I said good morning, Audrey. Good morning, Audrey. Yeah, Les. Oh, excellent, excellent, fantastic. So if you see me now, I'm going to be looking straight at the camera, obviously. But if you ever see me going off, I'm looking at the screen, which is now to the right of the camera, as opposed to the camera sitting on top of the screen. So we'll see how it works out. All right, Paige, because since I saw that I'm looking at the dates. Since I saw there was less to shred, I was going to truncate the art. I think it only goes on to the 15th, but I might shorten it to the 14th. So if you have stuff to put in the art, please do so this weekend, because that way I can get the book out even sooner. It'd be great. I'd appreciate it. But I saw your note, Paige. It's a good one on the Aspis thing. It's good. Whether you're capitalized or not makes a big difference, for sure. So how's everyone doing today? I hope you're all doing well. If any of you are down south, well, down south from me, near Florida, I hope you're staying safe, you know. And now you're in recovery, and I hear, morning, Laura, welcome. Hope you're feeling well, Laura. And now, everyone's recovering from Milton and Helene still. I think some people are still recovering from Ian. And from what I understand, I don't know how authentic this is, how true it is, but there seems to be another storm developing a little bit near Mexico, near the Caribbean area. So just keep an eye out. Be careful, okay, guys. If you guys are down there. Oh, that's great. It's always good when you can enjoy your exercise, Chris. Usually, let's see, do I actually enjoy it? I always enjoy exercising. I won't say I enjoy the exercise itself, but I always enjoy exercising for sure. There's never a time when I train that I regret training. There's times getting there, it's like, oh, okay, do I really want to do this? But I never regret doing it, for sure. I'm glad your back is doing much better. Are you still relatively pain free? Because that's really good. Hello, Cindy. Welcome. Good morning. Oh, cross country ski. Oh, that's great. Um, it's like a weird elliptical. I think I know what kind of machine it is. It actually mimics cross country skiing, which is excellent. Minor pain is better than major pain. So if you can get on that machine and actually use it, that's fantastic. So yeah, that makes a big difference. I think I'm gonna move the camera. I don't like this kind of going this way. It's throwing me off. So hold on, guys. I'm gonna move the camera ever so gently to where you're in the center of all things, the center of the universe. and I can adjust it. Fantastic. Much better. You can get the sound. Feeling a little better. That's good. I mean, a lighter cast is better than the one that's restrictive. So little by little, Laura, the steps come by little by little. You're making these steps and they happen little by little. So don't feel bad. I think you need to reboot. If you can't get the sound, reboot. Rebecca, good morning. Listen to the Technomancer. He knows of what he speaks. All right, how many people we got here? All right, let's do our notes, our show notes. Okay. So shout outs to everyone on YouTube. Hello, everyone on YouTube. Hello. If you want to find us on YouTube, you know where, right? At this point, well, at Bitten Peaches Publishing. So I have some news about what's coming. So I'll get to that in a moment. We're on Instagram as well, at Bitten Peaches. Also, although I've also been putting up stuff on my personal page, kind of the exercise stuff. Like I'll put up what I did on the rowing machine, and some guy asked me if I was undergoing chemo. I'm like, it says Concept 2 PM5 on it. So I don't think I'm doing chemo. I hope I don't look like I'm doing chemo. And this is not a knock on anyone who had to go through chemo. It's not a pleasant experience. I've had family members who've gone through it. Not fun. But no, we're not doing chemo. I'm on Instagram at Bitten Peaches. That's who we are. Go follow us there. We also have our fantastic Zazzle store at M&S. So EMANDES. M&S is where we are in Zazzle. So go there and get your swag. We have so much stuff. Our lead designer has taken a little bit of a break lately, and our senior designer is always working on stuff. So, but just go there and you can find everything that's either peachified or Monty Strong or ideas from the stories. It's all in our Zazzle store. So go visit, please. Patreon. We have new patrons. Oh, this is great. Let's see. Huge shout out to Sherry, Rachel Buchanan, and Jim Cougar for upgrading his tier. You guys are amazing. I totally appreciate what you guys do for going above and beyond what's the norm. And I really, really appreciate. I thank all our patrons because it's amazing what you guys do, and all the readers who support us in one way or another. Sometimes there's a lot of ways that you guys support us that we don't really find or know, but I know that you guys are out there supporting. So thank you so much, especially to all the patrons. And let's promote our new authors, Chris. We got links. Hold on. Let's see. 9 new subscribers. Fantastic. That's probably due to all those little CWW shorts. I don't want to say little, but to our CWW shorts. Heather says I'm gonna put the links up. So this is our Instagram link. Go there. That's where you can find us. Thank you, Dolly. Heather's saying I'm actually feeling good about being in the chair this morning. I wish more programs could do insert over. All right, I think you may want to change the title of the chair or add something to it, to like maybe the imagination chair, because when you just say the chair, it sounds like you've gotten the death sentence. There's a definite negative connotation with that. So maybe you want to change it to the imagination chair or the throne of imagination and not call it the chair. The chair just sounds ominous and not very creative inducing. That's just my 2 cents. I'm glad. Oh, you got it on Kindle. Okay. 9 new subscribers, as I was saying, is fantastic. We're growing little by little. I think the CWW videos are really helping. Here's another link for our Zazzle store. This is the link you use to go there and get our stuff. Get the swag. It's awesome. All right. And this is our Patreon link. Just in case you haven't, for some strange reason, you haven't joined our Patreon, please do. You can join for free. And that's the link to use for Patreon. Excellent. All right. We've got our indie authors. All right. John Corwin. If I'm not mistaken, this is a family business. Is John Corwin the one who does Cthulhu? Am I remembering him correctly? He's our Cthulhu author who gives us M&S shout outs in his ads. Now, I'm not clear. I think it's him. But this is our first indie author, The Family Business. That's his link. So go there. And you know what we do? You know what we say? We support our indie authors. So please go there. All right. So John Corwin is our Cthulhu author. Fantastic. John is a very cool person. So he has given us fantastic shout outs through his ads, which is a great, it's kind of very creative and really cool. So please go there, visit his link, and pick up his book, please. It's the latest one is The Family Business. The next one is Brad Magnarella, New Demon, Maddie Deeds, book 1. Brad has Professor Croft, which is his main character, and he's bridged him into different areas. And so Maddie is this, or New Demon, Maddie Deeds is one new character in the Croft verse. So listen, he's doing it the right way. He's taking his main character and slowly expanding the world around him. So Brad is a great author. I spoke to him the other day. He was telling me that the translator for Rumi, the man who translated Rumi's poems into English, is now taking up painting. So he has artwork. So the translator is now a painter. And I think it's no coincidence that someone who's been translating Rumi for about 30 years all of a sudden has a creative expression of painting. I think it's a normal thing. It's an effect of reading so much Rumi. I think that's what happens. So Brad has a new book out, New Demon, Maddie Deeds, book 1. He's starting a new series, and go get his book. We support our indie authors. And today, let's see. I'm gonna put this one up, Chris, so we can up. So Kimbra Swain, is her seventh year as 7th anniversary as an indie author. This today. What? Actually today, when she published her first book. Now, I'm pretty sure it's in the Trailerverse, right? Her first book was a Trailerverse book. So she's been doing this for 7 years. So that's congratulations, Kimbra. If I was gonna celebrate every author that I knew's anniversary, we'd be here for a long time. So huge shout out and congratulations to Kimbra for sticking with it for 7 years, because I know it's not easy. Yeah, it's a Trailerverse. Her Trailerverse is her main, I won't say her main, but her biggest series. So congratulations, Kimbra. I'm taking that off. Okay, so if you see her, go get her books. And if you see her today, just shoot her a congratulations and say good job. All right, so let's discuss kind of some of the things that I'm up to, and then we'll get into what's happening with the updates. So this is the link. By now you guys know it, I'm sure. This is the link to the Creative Warrior Wisdom. So a few things that I'm doing, and I'm gonna take it off because it's blocking out my face since the camera is so close. All right. So the Creative Warrior Wisdom videos are short. They're like 6 to 7 minutes, sometimes maybe a little over. No, not really over this. About 5 to 7 minutes long, and they're basically Creative Warrior Wisdom, just little nuggets of wisdom that I try to share every day. But I'm trying to avoid getting burnt out on them or getting to the point where I don't want to do them anymore. So I'm going to shorten it to only Monday through Friday with the weekends off. So that way it goes Monday through Friday, and then the weekends off. And basically what I want to do, go, Chris. Yeah, don't chat. Listen, you never stop being a parent, so just go. And I hope Christine's okay, and get that flat tire fixed as soon as you can. No, Jack. How can she not have a Jack? Oh, okay. Wow, 12 years is a long time. I hope he's doing well. I haven't heard from Shane in a while. But if you don't know who Shane is, he writes Snake Temple. Obsidian Sun is his first book. And he's got Callie, and he's got a few other series, but his main series is the Nate Temple series. So pick up Obsidian Sun, and you can jump right into the first series, which kind of branches off into the other series. And I know that he did a vampire series as well. So yeah, so just we support our indie authors. All right, so So the Creative Warrior Wisdom videos are going to be short. Oh, well, they are short, but they're going to be shortened in terms of frequency. So Monday through Friday, you'll have the usual Creative Warrior Wisdoms. I'll be on there with my Be Uncommon shirt and try and drop some wisdom and help people out in the way that you might be. Yeah, my son was saying, Rebecca, that's a good point. My son was saying, okay, I'll just catch up. I haven't watched them in a while. The last time I watched, you were up to 5. And then when he went back, when we had the conversation, he's like, "You're like at 30 now. What's going on? How many of these are you doing?" So yeah, it's been happening every day. So I'm going to shorten it to Monday through Friday. That means it's one that it shouldn't clash too much with the MoB Kaffeeklatsch. MoB Kaffeeklatsch every 2 weeks. It's always been that way. But I'm going to be starting a new channel that's basically, if you haven't heard, if you weren't part of it, it's basically like our Story September, but it's for aspiring creatives. It's for creatives who feel stuck, who feel like they can't get their projects out. And notice that I'm saying creatives, not writers. Even though my main creative expression is writing, I'm going to be starting the Storyteller Academy. And basically it's about storytelling. And we have different ways to tell stories, right? So some of us do it through writing, some of us do it through art, some of us do it through other forms of creative expression. And basically what I'm trying to help these creatives is get that expression out, or at least find where they want to go in those creative expressions. And those videos, it's going to be a new channel called the Storyteller Academy. Those videos are going to be once a month, because I'm not trying to like just be doing videos all the time. There are books that need to be written. Those will be like at the end of every month. And the first one that'll be at the end of October, Halloween, will be what makes a good story. And again, since my main creative expression is writing, I'll be telling it from the point of view as a writer, as an author. But a good story, if you walk into a museum, all those paintings are stories, right? You walk down the street and all those buildings, most architects have a creative idea and they want to tell a story. So the whole concept of what is a good story is very broad. It applies to many different kinds of creative expression. So that's going to be the Storyteller Academy, and they're going to be longer. They're going to be about 10 to 20 minutes around there. I don't want to make them longer than 20 minutes, and they can't really be too short. They can't be like the CWWs. So I look forward to seeing you guys there and dropping by. I really basically doing these for me because I enjoy, this is the teaching part of me, and I really enjoy sharing what I know and what I've learned and what has been shared with me and what has been taught to me. And hopefully, because when I started as a writer, I didn't have that much to I didn't really have much to look at, or I didn't know where to go to kind of help my craft. I found books, which are great, but I found that videos really help in terms of that. So I'm kind of doing this to help the next generation, or those people who may feel like I'm stuck, I don't know what to do, and I wish I had someone who I can kind of look at or ask questions of, because you'll be able to have make comments and, reach out to me, email if you have to, things like that. So hopefully this will be a resource for those creatives that kind of feel stuck and want to have somewhere to go to. It's creating another community of creatives, which would be awesome. Let's see. Yeah, Jeff, I agree with you. No jack is no joke, because if you're in a situation with a flat tire and you have no jack, it's no joke. So I'm sure, because I know Chris, there will be some conversation around having a jack in your car at all times, Christine. So I might have a chance to catch up. You might. It depends how far along you are, Rebecca, because I think I just did number 42 today. So it's going to be 5 on, 2 off, 5 on, 2 off. So you'll be able to catch up if you do like 2 a day. Yeah, for sure. Heather says the CWW is the first thing I look for in the morning, usually much too early. Yeah, I usually do the CWWs really early. If you're East Coast time, I do them around, I want to say 7-ish. Depends, 6-ish. Sometimes even earlier, like 5 in the morning. Depends. I usually get up really early to train. So what I do is I'll get up and I'll do my training and get that done because the training is essential. It's really important when I'm training. And then right after training and right after my morning meditation, I'll come and do the CWW because it takes me 20 seconds to set it up because I've got all the stuff now. I've got the mic, the light, the camera, everything's kind of set up. And I just kind of set it and the screen behind me. So I'll kind of set it up really quick. And it takes, 6 to 7 minutes. And I'll do that. And that's kind of like starts the day. And it's a good way to start the day. And I've been, so some of the inspiration for the CWW has been old Stoics. Well, all the Stoics at this point that I know are old, like Socrates and Seneca and Plato and Marcus Aurelius and the old Stoics that have amazing concepts. And this is the kind of stuff that they lived, right? But I also try to derive things from life. So a lot of my own experience. And I have martial arts. The martial arts aspect of my life has a lot of wisdom to share that you learn not just by reading, but you learn on the dojo floor and sweating and sometimes bleeding and going through practice and training. So I kind of try to distill all of that and put it into the CWW. And it's only 6 to 7 minutes, but there's a lot. I try to pack a lot into it. So yeah. So I'm glad you guys enjoyed. If you guys have any, I guess, suggestions or ideas or comments that you want to share with me, please do. I'm always open to hearing from viewers who are watching it, see what they might be getting from it. It's always good to get feedback, and it helps me kind of direct the channel where it needs to go. So yes. All right. Can we discuss Shield Bearer? Shield Bearer, but don't spoil anything. Those of you that are shredding, don't spoil. And if you have any questions about Shield Bearer, I will try to answer them without spoiling it because it's not even out yet. So are there any questions about Shield Bearer? Any questions about the story? Any questions about, should I? Well, I did discuss the fact that Shield Bearer kind of ended on a hill hugger. So yeah, that's something I really want to get feedback from you guys. How did you feel about the ending? I'd like to know. Those of you that have read it, those of you that are shredding it, I mean, I'll find out once the book comes out, obviously, and there might be a bit of an uproar as to how it ended. But I thought it ended well. But how did you feel about how the story concluded in this book? Because the story's not concluded, but it's kind of concluded in this book in a sense of what's coming next. And I guess I better write that next book really quick. So that I want to hear from you guys, those of you who are shredding. And I'll go into the next updates that we have. Are you getting more comments? Oh, okay, good. We're in the same comments. We're on Heather's, right? Mm-hmm. Awesome. Okay. Fantastic. Oh, and okay, so let me while you guys are thinking about that, so let me break down what's happening in Patreon for you Patreon supporters, for the patrons. Okay, the next part of the Patreon story, the Bureau. So I did something different this time with the story because basically the stories are quarterly, like every 3 months. And this time, what I did is I'm writing a much larger story. It's not a novel, but it's definitely closer to, I guess, a short story, and breaking it up into 4 parts, right? So in September, right? September, they got the first 2 parts. Yes. September, you got chapter 1 and 2. And this month, at the end of this month, October, you're going to get chapters 3 and 4. And then November, you get chapter 5 and 6. And then December, you get chapter 7, 8, and 9. So that's more than a short story. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so it's a little bit more than a short story, but I wanted to try this different format to see what was going on, how it would work with the patrons, what their reaction would be, what the feedback would be, and see how it's going with that kind of episodic nature. The story that I'm doing it with, called The Bureau, I really can't say too much because it's mid-story. It's really good. The characters are fantastic. I think you guys are really gonna like it. Those of you that are reading it. It leads into an actual full-length book, so that's gonna be fun. All right. I'm not seeing any comments moving. Is something? Are you guys? Let me know you're there because I'm. Looks like you're stuck. Because usually by now I would see someone say something. Maybe we need to reboot also. Oh, okay. Page is there. All right, cool. All right, just making sure. All right, so let me give you the updates, guys, and then we can go. Very good, Jim. Something. All right, so I broke up the Patreon story into 4 parts, only to try this episodic format to see how it goes. Okay. Well, that's good, Cindy. Hope it's getting really extra clean. And Linda's there too. Fantastic. All right, just want to make sure because sometimes we get technical issues that come up and we don't know until like 5-10 minutes later that everything is stuck. Welcome. All right, great. Thanks, Audrey. Thanks, Linda. Okay, fantastic. All right. Next book coming out. Okay, I can do this without cringing. Is Cold Front, which is going to be the second book in the Fate of the Dark Mages. Yes, the romantasy book. So yes, I'm going to make sure that book gets done. The second book gets done this year, of course. Oh, finally, that's great. I'm glad. Hopefully, your knee's coming along well. I hope you don't have to do too much rehab. So yes, take your time. Don't rush it. Let your knee actually get back to 100%. Okay. So the second book in the Fate of the Dark Mages is called Cold Front. The first one was Fated Fury, Cold Front, and it's hard for me to say this with a straight face because it's romantasy, but it's actually such a huge, don't want to say genre. I guess it's a genre. It's such a huge genre, so I'm kind of stepping into this whole. I'm stepping way out of my comfort zone, like way out of my with the romantasy part. If you notice, if you read Fated Fury, there wasn't much romance in the romantasy. It was more just urban fantasy. But I'm gonna see if I can kind of introduce some more of the romance aspect. It's the whole thing about the story. So I've read a few stories, right, in the fantasy, I guess, and in the romance aspect. If it doesn't have a good story, it loses me right away. So far, the only one that kind of caught my attention and really kept me reading was the Sarah J. Maas series. I don't remember the name of the first one. What is it? The Court of Thorn and Roses. That one. So that one really caught my attention, and not only did it catch my attention, but it kept me engaged, which is a big deal, right? That's basically what you want a story to do. That's my goal, to kind of make the romance fit into the awesome story as opposed to the awesome story fit into the romance. We'll see how successful I am. We'll see if we'll progress after this series, because I will finish the series, and I'll finish the series in a timely manner too, like this century. So I'll finish it. But we'll see what happens after that series. If I want to kind of pursue romantasy again, we'll see. It's like Discovery of Witches. That's what it feels like. Like I'm writing Discovery of Witches, and it's like, it's not that I'm embarrassed about it. It's just that I'm not used to it, and so this is actually really good for me because it's taking me out of what I'm used to, out of my comfort zone. But even in Discovery of Witches, when they start to look at each other longingly in each other's eyes, and I'm like, oh, here we go. Oh, look at Dolly, because I watched Discovery of Witches with Dolly, and I'll glance at Dolly and she'll laugh. I'm like, okay, here we go, because it's just not me. This whole romance thing. I mean, I'm not even overly. Am I romantic in life? I'm not even overly romantic in life, am I? I am, she says. Think she's just being nice. I'm like caveman romantic. So, all right. So, Cold Front is the next book that's coming out. I already have it outlined. It's ready to go. Once, yeah, that's a good idea, Chris. I'll try that. That's a good idea. And she'll be like, she's either gonna love it or she's gonna be giggling the whole time. Oh yeah, and she's gonna love it and be giggling the whole time. Um, so yeah, it is a good show, Cindy. Although we kind of stalled on it. I don't. What was it that we were saying about Dow about Discovery of Witches? That it kind of just I don't know. We're on season 2, and it seems kind of I don't know. I'll have to get into it. We vowed to finish season 2. I don't know if we're gonna make it through season 3, but we vowed to finish season 2. But I like that idea, Chris. I'll use that as kind of a motivating uh, tactic to see if I'm writing it that way. I think it'll work. So that's Cold Front, and that's already scheduled after Shield Bearer, and then after Shield Bearer, because I will have a lot of angry readers if I don't do this right away. Saints and Monks, which is the next story after Shield Bearer, which is the next M&S, because the way Shield Bearer ended, I won't say it's a cliffhanger, but it's like, okay, where's the next story? I need the next story now. And so I said, okay, I shuffled some things around in the production schedule because Saints and Monks wasn't due until next year. And I said, I got to bump that up because of the way Shield Bearer ended. But it's pretty saying, I felt the same about Discovery of Witches. I did finish it, but out of persistence. Yeah, it had lost your interest. Okay, I'll tell you exactly what it is about Discovery of Witches that threw me off, or that kind of, I don't know, soured me on it. Okay, so the main protagonist, the male protagonist of this, he's a vampire. He's really powerful. He's really awesome. He's all this. He's got, so in the first season, you see him, you're like, whoa, this guy's amazing. You get to the second season, and because we go back into what's his past, right? He becomes all wishy-washy. Why? Why can't he still be awesome and like, whoa, and like, And he lost a lot of his appeal for me. I was like, oh, what happened? What happened? Just because you're going back into your past, it's still the you from the present, just thrust into the past. And so I was like, I kind of, yeah. I'll tell you what, it wasn't like Mr. Queen. Mr. Queen, we actually had to stop ourselves from watching it because we were watching it so much. That is not the case with Discovery of Witches. That main protagonist, the male protagonist, and I get it. It's kind of like it's her transformation story. So she's growing, and she's becoming this powerful witch, and she's getting her powers, and all this stuff is happening. I get all of that. But I didn't like it. Felt like it was done at the expense of his power. Like he kind of had to diminish so that she would grow. Why not have just two very powerful main characters and then up the ante with all the people that are all the vampires, vampires, demons, and what's the no, there's 3 vampires, demons, and witches. What happened to the werewolves? Why weren't there any werewolves? I mean, technically, for that era and for those mythos, you would have vampires, werewolves, witches, demons. And I'm sure there's a few other, but I also found that to be kind of like, where are the werewolves? Why aren't there any werewolves? Let's see, Cindy. He says, yeah, it didn't grab you. Exactly. In the second season, he's not grabbing me. He just kind of faded away, and he just became too wishy-washy for me in the second season. He wasn't this strong character like he was in the first season. Cindy says he had issues confronting his. Okay, but I get the dad issues. He had daddy issues because his dad was alive, and confronting his past and going in. But still, he has to. He had already evolved past that. Being thrust into the past shouldn't make him less powerful. That was my complaint, and I don't know. It's just I'm sure the books are very different. Yeah, see, Audrey didn't even make it past the first season, and the first season was really good, but it was like the second season's making us go like, I'm thinking we're gonna do like Paige. We're going to watch out of persistence, but even that, see, Cindy, even that part where he has issues confronting his past and his father, that could be so powerful in terms of developing a character, dealing with his past and dealing with his father and why he is the way he is. And you can make his father a real villain and he doesn't want to be that way. Or you could just make his father really uncaring and then he's got to confront that he never, gave him any attention. Those could be things that that could be developed. And I don't know because I never read the books. I know this is based on books, but it's called Discovery of Witches, not Discovery of Vampires. So I think they're going to focus on her and how she grows and how she becomes this uber witch, Yeah, I know. See, but Linda, I get that. I really totally get the fact that he didn't evolve and he didn't fix it. But this would be a chance for him to kind of confront that or have her as his partner now because he wouldn't be doing it alone, right? Have her be a catalyst. This is just writer brain, obviously, but have her be a catalyst to kind of resolve the situation between him and his dad or him and his father. And then there's this whole stigma about there can't be vampires with witches or this demons with others. It's, and I get it to create this kind of tension, but in my brain, it just feels a little contrived. And so again, this is just my writer brain. It's not, I'm not knocking the show. The show's really well done. The effects are really well done. I can't say if the show is true to the books because I haven't read the books, but they've seemed to have gone through a lot of trouble to try to make the show true to the books. But it just the second I'm gonna watch the second season and then we'll see what happens. I haven't watched long enough maybe, and so I don't want to prejudge it because we haven't finished the second season. So we'll see. After the second season's done, then I'll kind of give it a verdict and see if I want to continue. But yeah, it's that, and I still have to get Dolly through all of John Wick. What did you watch? John Wick 1? I got it through John Wick 1. What did you think?
It was great.
Yeah. Yeah. So now we're gonna do John Wick 2, John Wick 3, and John Wick 4. So see if she can handle all that. It's a lot of violence. It's a little. Is it too violent for you? No. It's kind of controlled violence. It's not gore. That's what I like about John Wick. It's not gore. It's definitely violent, and it's definitely kind of like a guy movie. But John Wick is just really well done for what it is. You got to kind of turn off your brain and go, John Wick movie. Okay, he's gonna go on a rampage because of what happened. If you don't know the story of John Wick, I don't want to spoil it for you, but it is what it is. I think she'll like. You know what? Okay, I'll tell you what John Wick does really well. That is very interesting to note is that in each sequel, the world gets larger, which is really fun to kind of watch happen. So in each sequel, you get to learn more of John Wick's world, and it gets more and more developed. It gets more exposed. You get to learn a little bit more about what the high table is and what does it mean to be an assassin in this world. And I think that's kind of really interesting because a lot of sequels, they try to go bigger and better and more over the top. John Wick doesn't really do that too much. It's more, let's go deeper into this world and explore it more and expose it more and let the viewers try to understand what John is facing in this world. I think that's really important. So, John Wick 2, you ready for John Wick 2?
Ready.
John Wick 2. John Wick, let me see I forgot what John 2 is. I think he starts with, we saw the first part. Remember, he starts with getting his car back. Yeah, John Wick 2 is fun. John Wick 2. They're a little goofy, and it's hard to believe some of the body counts in these movies because, come on, John Wick is awesome, but he's not Superman. But it's a John Wick movie. You just watch it for what it is. Okay. All right. So, Saints and Monks after Shield Bearer, and after Cold Front, and then I'll jump back to Stone, which I'm not gonna do another 10-year hiatus with John Kane. It's not gonna be that kind of break, but I want to get Cold Front out because I don't want to make the gap between Fate of the Dark Mages, the Fate of Fury, and Cold Front too big, because I want to kind of stay in the. If I know myself. If I don't get into the romantasy right away, start jumping back into it, it will linger because I'm not overly thrilled at writing it, but I am excited about the story. It's just I'm not overly thrilled about being outside my comfort zone. I think if that explains it. So I want to kind of force myself to write it and get it out there. And Fate of Fury was our first wide book, right? Right, Don? It was the first one. So I want to kind of be true to this is the one that took us wide, like to a much bigger audience. So yeah, so I'll stick with I'll get Cold Front out. It'll be fun. And I'm also writing them shorter. That's my out that I write them. They're like 45,000 words, so they're short, and you can read them really quick. So Stone comes out after, so it'll be Cold Front, Saints and Monks, and then Stone. That's not Stone is not happening this year. I can tell you right now. I don't think so. We'll see. It's already October. I mean, there'd have to be two of me at least. And then the Storyteller Academy for the creators is going to be coming up, and I'm going to be really trying to develop that channel so that creators have some place they can go to ask questions or share their experiences and kind of get advice or get ideas to express their creative ideas, to express their creativity, really, basically. Yes, and it's the John Wick 2 is the Italian John Wick. It's where Santino comes in and has him and blows up his house, right? I hope I'm not spoiling for you guys after I give that part away, and asks him and calls his marker in, right? So that's gonna be a fun. There's gonna be a lot of interesting things in that one for sure. Okay, so yeah, so that's what's happening there. Yeah, I'm trying not to spoil stuff, and like, oh, he blows up his house. Really? Oh, thanks. I haven't watched the movie, but thanks. Okay, thank you for sharing that. So those of you that have watched the CWWs, do you have any ideas on them? Like your thoughts on them? Not ideas, but I mean, like, what are your thoughts? Sometimes it feels like I'm just screaming into the wind, but it's wisdom, and it's important. For me, it's important. I'm really kind of doing them for me because I get to kind of, how would I say it? I guess explore that teaching aspect of who I am and get that out. And the CWWs are a really kind of nice way. Those little short videos are a nice way of me getting, like, scratching that teaching itch kind of thing. So I get that out. Some days it's like, why are you doing this? And then some days it's like, yeah, this needs to be done. And I guess that's how it feels with a lot of stuff. Like when we started our dojo, it was that way. When I was actually teaching before the dojo, and I was just teaching my two sons in a living room, it was that way. And now I'm going to be teaching the youngest Valkyrie, and she's like, I'm going to get up at 5:30 in the morning to train with you. I'm like, really? But she seems very determined, so I have to make sure that she gets good training, And what did I say? Oh, the books are hard to read. Oh, I didn't. Okay, so let's backtrack a little bit to Discovery of Witches. I never heard about the Discovery of Witches books until I saw that the show. So I didn't know. I didn't realize that they were hard to read. But thanks, and I don't know if I can look up the books after seeing the show. It's a little hard for me to do it that way in different mediums, but I'll see. I mean, it depends on how well I can get through one of the books. If they're like Sarah J. Maas, I might be able to get through it, but I'm sure I was telling Dolly this. When you watch a show, you can tell that there are things that are missing in the show. Like, this could have been better in the books. This could have been developed more, explored more, because in the books you have the time. You can go into different subjects, and you can explore different characters. This whole dynamic and tension between the demons and the witches and the vampires, and why they don't get along, or why they're not allowed to have interspecies relationships. And you can develop that in the books. In the show, it seems like something's lacking. They can't get into it because you're limited because of time, obviously, and it comes across as more of a romantic show. And it may not, like Linda saying, maybe it's not overly romantic in the books, and I might enjoy the books more. So I will try. I'm gonna see if I can find a book and see if it's something that I can read a little bit of and see if I can get into it. We'll see. It might help me do my romantasy. But especially, I think the issues that Matthew in the books and series both was a romantic draw for readers, and the story was all about Diana. Matthew gets backgrounded for much of it. Yeah, and that's what see, but and I get that, Paige. I totally understand it. It makes complete sense to me because it is a discovery of witches, obviously. It's just the suddenness of it in season 2 that, and the way it's done. If you, I get that it's all about her because she's the center of the book and it makes sense, but it's basically do it in such a way where he doesn't feel like he just gets shoved out the middle. He gets shoved out you're no longer a main character. Get out. And then she gets brought in, and it's kind of like, well, you get whiplash because it happens in a way. I don't think it happens that way in the books. I don't know because I haven't read the books. But yeah, and Linda, that would be great. Maybe we'll make it to season 3. I don't know if we will. Maybe, but we'll get through season 2. Maybe we'll watch one today so we can kind of get closer to the end of season 2, and then we'll see if we can make it to season 3. That'll be fun to see if it develops in a way that's better than what it currently is right now. Because I'm losing a little. I'm like, let's go watch John Wick. You know what I mean? So that's basically that. Let's get to the questions because let's do these early. All right. So I have I have 4 questions, 1 from Chris and 3 from Audrey. All right, here we go. Chris asks, his first question is, when you were younger, after reading The Chessmen of Mars by ERB, if you don't know who ERB is, that's Edgar Rice Burroughs, I'm guessing. Did you try playing Jatan? I did not read The Chessmen of Mars. There's some, and it's my bad, I guess. There's some Edgar Rice Burroughs I didn't read. I did read a lot of Burroughs, but I didn't read this book. So I can't say I ever tried playing Jatan because I didn't read the book. So that's my answer to your question. I guess I should read. I haven't read Edgar Rice Burroughs. Wow, we're talking a long time. Talking junior high school for me, way back then. I was, yeah. Great writer, but he didn't really grab me for too long. I kind of had a Burroughs phase, and then I moved on. So, yeah. All right, Audrey, thank you for that question, Chris, and I hope you're getting that flat situation fixed. Oh, really, Linda? Comes the explanation about interspecies relationship. Okay, so Linda says the explanation about interspecies relationships comes in season 3. Like I said, we'll give it a try. We'll give it a shot and see what's happening in Discovery of Witches. So Audrey asks her first question. Audrey maintains her streak of MoB Kaffeeklatsch questions well into episode 128. Congratulations, Audrey. All right, what stands out most about your experience publishing your first book? Let's see. So what stands out the most is that the cover really made a difference, right? I designed the first cover, and you're not gonna find a book, a spiritual warrior book with that cover because they no longer exist out in the world. I think I have all of them. The return, like the readers they're not waiting for you immediately. That takes time. So my first experience was that only my family and friends read the book and no one else. And I didn't realize that that was going to happen. I thought once I put the book out, everyone would get it. Everyone would read it. That is not the case. You have to learn that as an author that you have to build your readership. It could have used a lot of editing before I sent it out because I sent it out. There wasn't much. You're the only one that edited it, right? At first, yeah, could have used more editing. The editing was great, but it was just that it needed more, apparently, from what I understand. And I needed to write the second book right away because I was writing a series, and I was writing. Don't do what I did, which is jump from series to series. I think, and I'm still doing it, but don't do that. If you're gonna write a series, write that series, get it done, and then go to the next series. So that's what stands out the most. Also, it could be done. Perseverance. If you stick with it, it could be done. That's and you kind of have to do it to realize that. All right, Dolly, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
What did you experience as a child that you don't see with today's generation, but you wish they could?
I think when we're younger, the fact that we were able to get bored and
Yeah.
start looking around the house. You look at the same bookshelves for the 20th time and you're like, finally, okay, fine, I'm going to read that book that's always been there. Or you just start, making your own puzzle books. You spend hours,
Drawing.
in the garden drawing.
Yeah.
Which I think kids these days really don't get to do, unfortunately.
Yeah. So the capacity to be bored.
Yep.
That's really big. I'll tell you my feedback on what I've learned about that is that a lot of creativity comes from the capacity to be bored, because it's like what spurs the imagination to start working, because you're bored, right? You have nothing to do, and your imagination starts kind of getting on overdrive, and you can start doing things. And so being able to be bored, like, and we knew, at least in my house, I don't know about your house when you were growing up, Dolly, but I knew in my house, we knew not to say, I'm bored, because my mom had a running list of chores to be done, no matter what time of the year, no matter what time of day. So we never said, I'm bored. What we would do is we'd go play, we'd create games and things like that. So I think that's really important. We've got to find a way to get our Valkyries bored so they can do other things. Yeah, be awesome. All right. And last question from Audrey. Have you ever had a ghostly experience? Yes. We don't have time in this show to go into it, but yes, I would say I've had a few actually. So yeah, I know you want more, but I can't go into more right now because we spend the next few hours going into what the ghost experience would be. But I can definitively say yes, I've had a ghostly experience for sure. Cindy wants to know how, and thank you for the questions, Audrey and Chris. You guys, thank you so much. The questions always help enhance the show and make it better. So thank you so much. I appreciate them. Cindy wants to know, how did you get people to start reading your books? I tied them up and I forced them to read the books, or I bribed them with Starbucks coffee. No, that's not the books, right? No. Facebook. I started a Facebook group. So I got some good advice from fantastic authors. One of them was Rick Gualtieri, who still writes today, and he said just create a group. Another one was Michael Anderle, who also gave me some good advice on how to start my reader group, basically starting a reader group. Another one was John Logsdon, who also kind of gave me the same advice on how to start a reader group and just talk about your characters. You don't even have to tell them to go read the story. You want to have a place where you can talk about your characters and reading and writing and the things you're up to and the stories that you write. Excuse me. And that's basically what I did. When I started the Facebook group, the first launch team, I had 56 people. I think we have over 1,700 people now in our mob. And the mob itself is the Mages of Badassery, is a group dedicated to everything M&S and everything M&S adjacent and everything kind of related to what's been written. So you can kind of discuss everything in that group, even though it's a safe space for discussing pretty much everything. And that's how you start. And you just start talking about like I would start talking about peaches, or can Simon do this, and what would you guys think if Simon did that, or what would you think if how does that, what kind of powers should this be, and what that does, rather than beating people over the head, go read my book, go read my book, you get people curious about what is it that what are these books that he's talking about. And mind you, back then it was only Tomb Yards and Butterflies that I had, and the Spiritual Warriors series. It was 5 books in the series, and 1 book in sepia blue, and what else? It was sepia blue, Spiritual Warriors, and Blur. Those are the only, and then I started Tomb Yards and Butterflies, which is the first Monty and Strong book. So when I started the group, at that point, I was starting Tomb Yards and Butterflies, and I had the Spiritual Warriors, Blur, and Sepia Blue. Those 3. That's it. But I would discuss the stories because I was writing them, and I was writing what was coming next, and I would share with the readers and the people who were in the group, and we kind of just got into talking about the stories. And what happens is that creates interest, and more people come in, and more people want to hear about what your stories are about, and it's basically just kind of a very extended Kaffeeklatsch. We just kind of sit down and talk about stories and books and characters, and we'd have castings and things like that. I think every author goes to that. Every story, every series goes through that, the castings, and what would happen if this character did this, and I would explain or kind of share what was coming next, so that would get people interested. And so when the book actually came out, I was doing this way before Tomb Yards and Butterflies came out. So when Tomb Yards and Butterflies actually came out, the first book of the Monty and Strong series, everyone wanted to read it because we had been discussing it for months. We had been talking about Tomb Yards and Butterflies, and why the title, and why peaches, and and I got the stern warning about you don't hurt the dog, but I didn't adhere to it until book 3, which is Blood is Thicker. Then I really got the stern warning about you don't hurt the dog. So it took a while, but that's how you develop. For me, that's how I managed to develop a readership. It took a while. I mean, we have a lot of readers now, but it took a while in the beginning. There weren't many readers, and that was okay too, because we were starting out, and it's fine as long as your goal as an author is to write your story and for people to read it. But you got to write the story first, right? If you don't have a story written, there's nothing for them to read. So you got to really focus on writing the best story that you can write. And then once you do that, then you hype it up and talk to people about your story. But you have to do it in a way that doesn't come across as, I need you to read my story now. Read my story now. It's like, even though that's how you feel inside, read my story now, you never express it that way. You just go, I wrote a great story, and it's about this character, and they do this, and they involved with this, and you try to show interest and make the story interesting. And if it comes across as interesting, people will read your story. And I guess you got to find people just as odd as you are, because we all have our tribe, right? The mob is my tribe. I mean, I marvel sometimes at the days on, like, let's say on a Tuesday, I'll put up a topic, and how many similar experiences the people in the mob have had with my life. They say some of the things, and I'm like, oh my God, me too. It's a lot of those moments like I went through that too, or I experienced that too, or I did that too. And so when you find your tribe as an author, then you don't have to get people to read your books. People will just read your books because they're just like you. They like what you like. And as an author, what's key is writing what you like to read. And if you can write what you like to read, you will find people who like to read what you like to read. And that is how people start. And so people start talking, and then say, hey, have you picked up the Monty and Strong? You know how many times I get notices, or I get notes like, I'm looking for a series, and 5 people will recommend, oh, go read Orlando, Montague and Strong. And I'm like, oh, thank you guys. You guys are awesome. But those are your people. That's your tribe. And you don't have to force them to read your story, because you've written a story that you've really enjoyed, and they have found it and they share. It's like when you watch a great movie and you talk to your friends, hey, have you seen this movie, or have you seen that movie? No one in the studio is calling you to go share the movie. It's because you enjoy it so much that you're referring. It's that word of mouth is so important, and it's so powerful, right? It's the best endorsement that a creative piece can have, whether it's art in terms of actual painting or a movie or a book. It's like, if it gets enough word of mouth, it becomes huge. And you're right, Stephen. You never hurt the dog, and I do not hurt the dog because it's not recommended. And I don't think you can hurt this dog anymore. Peaches has become beyond indestructible. Well, not beyond, but the next book, oh my God, the next book is going to be so much fun with Peaches. It's going to be so much fun with Peaches. And poor Simon. What is Dan saying? I can't wait till the next book comes out on Audible. Yeah. Okay, so for Audible, what are we doing with Kevin, right? The next book is going to be Broken Magic. All right. We're doing them. Okay. It's either I'm writing too fast or the lag is too large, right? I like to keep the pace. I have never slowed down with Monty and Strong. As if you look at the production schedule, I've tried to always keep that consistent, right? Because I tell you guys, that's the engine, that's the trunk of the tree, and all the other stories, all the other series are the branches that come off that trunk. But he's a really good narrator. If you've listened to the audiobooks, you'll know what I mean. And he's in demand. And for us, it's also a matter of the cost of making the audiobooks. It creates a lag in the audiobooks and the print and the digital books, because we can make the digital and the print books faster, and the audiobooks take a few months to make each one, like about 3 months. Is it 3 months, babe? About 3 months. And they're not inexpensive. They're expensive. But so we want to pay what's fair, but we also want to be aware of how it impacts our bottom line as well. And that's why there's a lag between the ebooks, print books, and the audiobooks. But it's coming. The next book is Broken Magic, and we're in talks already to get it in the production schedule. So yeah. All right, so I can't wait till the next book comes out on Audible. I'm stuck on Blood Lessons, but I want to see his hellhound become a bigger part of the series. He's an indestructible hellhound that grows super quick. Peaches should be huge by now, and telling Peaches to stay back all the time is like, why? It's like why he's a huge asset. But I love that Simon accepts he's not a mage. He accepts it finally is stronger. You're welcome, Dan. Yeah. You'll like Shield Bearer because I don't want to say things that might spoil the story. But in Shield Bearer, Simon is taking some steps towards where he needs to be, and so is Peaches. And that's about as much as I can say without spoiling the story, because I don't want to spoil it for you. And yeah, and so some people are saying it took too long to get Simon to where he needed to get to, and a few people wanted to smack him upside the head a few times, myself included. But I think it had to happen that way because I wanted it to happen organically. I wanted it to happen in a way where he actually kind of grew. And it's interesting because I haven't done this yet. Excuse me. But people are saying he's been at this for 2 to 3 years, but that's not in book time. So I'm going to have to sit down and work out the timeline for Simon and Monty, obviously, but the timeline for Simon from the moment that he took the first case that they went into the warehouse with Kali and Shiva to present, and how long it's been. Because yes, it's been 2 or 3 years, actually longer than that if you really think about it, for us as readers. But that's not necessarily the case for Simon. So yes, it may feel like, oh, he should have got this by now. Why doesn't he know what to do? How can he not accept this? And why hasn't he progressed further in this? But we seem to think what we apply, and this is natural, we apply our time to Simon, and that's not how it works in the books. If you look at the space in between the books, and this is something probably for Paige and Jeanette, it's not like years pass through the books. The books almost go like one right after the other. Things are happening right after the other, like maybe a few days or a few weeks, but it's not like it's this long period of time that's passing. And so you have to cut Simon some slack and be a little, extend him some grace, because he's brand new in this world of magic, as he's said many, many times. And you can't just jump up to speed without some kind of teaching, some kind of mentorship. And again, as he's said many, many times, and as people have told him many, many times, he's not a mage. He didn't grow up in this world. He's learning this. This is on the job training. And it's hard, because this is something that for most people it would explode their minds. And so it's, it's that. And so, and on top of that, he's been chosen by a goddess who's not exactly the most friendly or warm of goddesses. And he's been kind of just pushed into this world, Yeah, Annette, they don't get days off. They don't get vacations. They don't get weekends off. So it's basically been back to back to back to back adventures with M&S. And they get maybe like a few days off. I think one time it happened with Hades, another time it happened with Dex, but it's not what they deserve. Not like a time, like a month. They need like a month or two, a year actually, off. Let's see. Yeah, and this is M&S they don't get days off or vacations. And Rebecca says, but it took leaving him with Kali. I wouldn't be able to function in the presence of someone. Yeah, Kali's kind of scary. It's when I write her, and I'm thinking about, and I've studied her background, like what she represents and who her followers are, and her actual. I mean, there's an actual group that worships Kali. It's not for the faint of heart, for sure. And the story of Kali within the mythos of the Indian gods, it's whoa. Let's see. Dan saying, I understand. He's Kali's chosen one, so he accepted it. He's not a mage, but he's powerful. And Monty, I think, can level up. Yeah, he has to go through a few shifts, and Monty is always being Monty. He walks the edge, and that's the thing. And Monty's kind of like Simon, the other side of Simon, if you think about Monty, because for Monty, family is very important as well. So family is a very strong theme in the Monty and Strong series. So yeah, and yeah, of course, meat is life as usual, as always. That's the case. It's always meat is life, right? Yes, but I think opening, I'm not gonna, again, no spoilers, but opening Shield Bearer the way it opened was really important. What is this page? Yarn clip. I don't know what this is. I'm hesitant to put up links without knowing what they are. So get yam. Getty am. What is this? So opening Shield Bearer the way I did, hopefully starts to give a little bit more insight into Simon and his background and why he is the way he is and why Kali did what she did. Rebecca says she's still waiting to meet Simon's mom and family. That doesn't happen until book 28. Oh, yeah. Kalima's big. That whole thing is really, like I said, the whole background into Kali, because whenever you introduce something into the books, it's I have to do, you don't see, you see it as maybe a few paragraphs or a few chapters. For me, it's a lot of reading, a lot of background information. So even for this one, for Shield Bearer and all the Greek stuff and the Parthenon, and I could be a tour guide of the Parthenon right now at this point, because all the stuff you have to read. And then the new emissary, there's a lot of background that goes into her and the Grand Council. Yeah, I remember from the movie. Yes. Heather says, I want to meet Monty's maternal family. No one of his aunts is a Grail guardian. Yeah, that's gonna be really fun. I'm already doing the background work for that, because I have to introduce Hecate, and that's gonna be interesting because Hecate is not known as one of the friendly goddesses. So we'll it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun. That as more of that part of Monty's life comes in, a lot of Monty's motivations start to make sense. What did Rico say? I'm on Harold. Oh, welcome, Rico. You're here. That's what matters. We're almost done. Actually, oh my God, we're done. So we're done, but you made it at the end. So that's awesome. Yeah, Paige. So yeah, it's amazing to the background that gets shown, that gets discussed when you have to bring all these characters into a story. There's a lot of, like I've always said, as an author, what you do is you end up giving yourself homework for life. Any book that you're about to write involves so much research, so much background information, and that's one thing. Again, that's one thing I didn't understand. To answer Audrey's question, one thing I did not understand about publishing my first book, second, third, subsequent, whatever number you want to put there, that each book requires a lot of study. Like you have to like research if you're going to become an author, because every book requires crazy amounts of research. Like I feel like I'm in college again, because I know that when I'm going to read, when I'm going to write about something like the saints and monks, and writing about monks, and we're writing about the Iron Fan Mountain, and if you're a patron, you know what I'm talking about. But the whole monastery life is a very specific kind of life, and you know what that means for me? Reading about Shaolin, reading about how monks came to be, reading about their influence on Chinese and culture, reading about Tibet, reading about how they live, where they live, what their life entails, all of that, because I have to put all that into the next book somewhere in story form. And that's just hours and hours of reading. And that's just the way it is, you know? And so, but you know, you go in, hopefully you go into writing with your eyes open, realizing that. For me, I kind of had to understand that. I didn't realize it. And I realized, oh, I gotta really learn this. Because it may take hours and hours of reading and researching to add a paragraph. And that's all you use. But it makes sense, and it's important for the story. And it lends what you need in a story, which is the authenticity, because there's a suspension of disbelief. And if you can't have your reader suspend that disbelief, your story's not going to go very far. So you have to make it seem very real. So like when I write about New York, most of the places I write about New York are real places that I then take creative liberties with and add a secret level or change one area of. But the places in New York that you read about in my books, they really exist. Like when I say we can have a destruction tour, we really can. We can go through all the areas in New York that Monty and Simon have obliterated, and you'd find real places, and it's amazing. But it's fun, but it's work, because then I have to go through because I live in New York, actually go through these places and kind of take pictures and look. I have to go to Google Maps, and because I already know where most of these places are, because I worked in Manhattan for a long time, and I could just say, okay, I know where this is, I know where that is. All right, let me make sure I got the right entrance in the right place or whatever. But again, that's the research part, right? That's the work that makes the story feel real. Let's see, Dan says, thank you. Oh, I appreciate it. Thanks for the kind words. Thank you, Don. I appreciate it. I get why it's taking so long for Audible to come out with the book after. Yes. You know, we tried to do it quickly, and we did for a while. We were cranking those books out month after month after month after month, like as fast as possible. But we realized that the return on the investment wasn't worth us putting it out that fast. We needed to slow down the production just a bit to make it make more sense. And then we kind of went in the other direction and then produced an audiobook for a long time. And that kind of created that lag. And you couple that with Kevin's crazy schedule, because he's in demand. He's a fantastic narrator. And that's why we're at almost, I don't know, we're book 18 in the audiobooks, and we're book 25 in the written and ebooks. So there's a little bit of lag, but they're coming. And don't feel like they're not coming. They will get there. So thank you for all the kind words. You guys are amazing. Pick a number from 1 through 7, and let's close out with our audio theme song. So 1 through 7, the first 10 people, there's 17, 18 people here. 1 through 7. I hope you guys have a fantastic, awesome, amazing weekend. Again, if you're down south, please get safe. Florida, North Carolina, Georgia, all these places are recovering from hurricanes, so please be safe out there if you're out there. And you know, be careful. Be really careful, because it's the recovery. A lot of people get hurt too. All right. Wow, that was quick. I want you all to have a great weekend, though. And I'll keep you posted about the Storyteller Academy, and I'll keep you posted about what's happening. And the next CWW will be on Monday. And so we got 10 people, babe. Count. What number?
Three fives.
I see 3 5s.
3 6s.
Okay. 4 6s.
Oh.
All right, 6 it is. Awesome. Okay. All right, guys. So before I replace this scary face with a much more handsome face, have a great weekend, all of you, and be kind, be unstoppable. And as you hear me say on CW, I'm not wearing this shirt today, but be uncommon. All right. Have a great weekend. Thank you for being here, guys. No, I can't do this without you. You guys are amazing. So thank you so much. Now I'm gonna put the better looking face up. Here we go.